Back at the tape and everything and have a couple of days. I mean, what did you like? What did you not like? How did you look back at that overall?
Well, there's a lot of things that I thought that we did that I thought we would see. Just, mistakes that are just so simple to fix that cost us a 4-point swing or cost us, giving up 2 points. And when you have a lot of new people in new jobs, there's some game slippage, and I think that, and in a game that's a toss-up, a back and forth game like that, you can't have those mistakes, and that's what costs you early. And but the good thing is a lot of the stuff is correctable. A lot of the things are, I think we're going to fix as we go forward. And problem is we got to fix them in a hurry because we play a really good team on tomorrow.
But I mean, if you open with somebody like South Dakota State, you're going to play somebody that's going to force you to be better.
Right.
Whereas if you open with somebody that was, say, a non-D1 or something like that.
That's what I told our guys. You look at, everyone else in our league, nobody played anybody like above 150. We were, so it does. It makes you better, and it's a preseason for a reason to get better, and and give your team opportunities to play good teams. And now, would I like it? In a perfect world, would I like it? Like I said, to be your 5th, 6th, 7th game? Then you can iron out some of those things. But that's not the way it is, and that's what's in front of us, and that's the ones we play. And so, I think in the long run, it'll really help us.
You said Wednesday was out of the frying pan and into the fire. What makes Washington State potentially an even tougher challenge?
I mean, they look like they're blended really well. They were in their first game. One of their kids had 12 assists. And that's a team that's clicking pretty good. If anybody can get 12 assists, they got good bigs. They play hard. They got a good scheme. They got good coaches. They're playing together. This early in the season, that'll get you over the hump in a lot of games, and that's what I saw in their first game.
How's Buzo doing the last couple of days? And it had to be so tough for him, and obviously fans and stuff that haven't seen him and stuff, and we're ready for it, and then he just didn't get a chance to make an impact. I mean,
yeah.
I guess how do you deal with him, and how much better do you hope he is tomorrow?
Well, the thing I told him, I've been doing this for a while here at Boise, and I know who he is. I know what he brings to the table. I know his work ethic. I know his character. I know the kind of kid he is. He's going to have a great career here. I just want him to get to it right away, But that's, that so does he, and that's what's causing. That's probably what caused it. Is he wants it so bad. He was, chomping at the bit. I think I used a different word okay. But he's just an awesome kid and a worker, and he's gonna, like I said, he's gonna have a great basketball career here, and I just got to help him through some of this early stuff, and because he's that kind of guy. Perfectionists are like that, you just got to get them to relax and play, and trust them, trust their work, trust their abilities, and trust their team, and that's what we're getting him to do.
Both Max and Shaver obviously were dealing with the cramps and stuff.
Yeah.
So they both good to go tomorrow?
I haven't seen Max today yet, so but I know there's nothing that would stop him from playing.
Was that just a random thing, or was it a first game?
I think it was. I think what it was our rotation was thrown off by foul trouble, by, So those minutes will probably be fine in January. They're probably not fine opening night. That one's on me, But I also know those two guys, and when we were making our comeback, there never was a right time to sub them, and I wanted to give them the chance to win the game, and had they been fresh, so it's a catch-22. Had I taken them out, well, maybe you're not in that position, but because I didn't take them out, it probably cost us. Because it cost Max on that last, he couldn't even get the shot up. His leg gave way, and he couldn't get under the ball. So, and it probably cost Shaver the free throws.
All things considered, with 1.3 seconds left, to get a shooter like Max that kind of look, was that? I mean, he could have been much more.
Yeah, when he caught it, and I had visions of him making it. I've seen him do that so many times, and he just has that ball that goes in on those kind of things, and he's done it. I've watched that kid for his whole life, you would be amazed at the amount of game-winning shots he's hit. And so, and I think our team felt that way too, especially the way he was playing. So I would have liked to have seen him being able to stay on his feet and shoot the shot.
Us annoying media types like to ask questions about bigger picture. Could you see Saturday's game paying dividends down the road?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's why we scheduled them, these two games, because there's gonna be a lot of dividends. Number one, they're both good resume opportunities. Number two, they get you better. We're trying to win the league. That's our goal, and everybody has that goal, and it's what like I told our guys, everybody in our league has that goal. It's what we're willing to do and how much better we're willing to get, and the sacrifices we're willing to make, and and then us just figuring it out. We got a lot to figure out with this team, and we will, but sometimes it takes time, and when you're playing lesser opponents, you can mask your problems, and you can find a way to win those games a little easier, even if you make 100 mistakes. So, it's tough. We don't like to lose, and these guys aren't, this group especially. I mean, Shaver, all he's done is just made shots to win games. He's never had that experience before, but hey, that's a growth experience.
How the ticket sales I know aren't great for that game. How badly do you need people to come in and swoop up some of those?
No doubt. I mean, I think anyone that saw this first game, you saw a great college basketball game, and that's what you're going to see hopefully this Saturday, because I think you got two really good teams, and two teams that are hungry and are going to compete. And that, you look at last year's game, it was a great game. It was two really good defensive teams that played last year. I mean, that's what caught, they were first and second in the Pac-12 in every defensive category almost. And I see them shaping into that this year too.
I know we know the answer to this, but just to explain for fans, some are a little frustrated that A, wasn't an extra mile, and B, wasn't part of the season ticket plan.
Right.
In terms of all the things that went into this game happening and why it's happening there, can you touch on that?
Well, scheduling's tough. First of all, WSU wouldn't come here. They're not playing us. We don't have the game. It's just no, they're not coming. So for us to get the game, it had to go down there. And then there's some benefits. We're funding the Alston Fund, so it goes back to the student athletes, which is terrific. I mean, that's a cutting edge, creative way to help our student athletes with the new rules. And I think credit to Kyle and his staff for doing it. Credit to our administration for figuring out a way to do this. It's a neat deal, and that's what the rules for, is that these student athletes deserve this. And so that's number one. Number two, it becomes a better game as far as quad one, quad two being played on a neutral court. So you can stop the talk about that, because it just wouldn't have happened. Believe me, my first ask was, hey, come to Extra Mile Arena. No. No. Then my second ask was, come to Boise, downtown. And the first response was no, and then it was no again. And then on the third call, we started to make some progress of how creative we could be to do this. So, credit Kyle for coming down here and doing it. And that's why it happened. And we need, we want the fans to understand that. And we would bring everybody here to Extra Mile if we could get them, but they have to agree to it. And if you know anything about scheduling, it's getting harder and harder to do that, because the leagues are playing more and more league games, the Power Fives, and so they don't play road games anymore. They don't do it. There is none. So those games are hard to get. So to get a Power Five here in Boise is going to be less and less. It's going to happen less and less.
Getting back to your team, watching Marcus really is the first time being the guy at the point running the show. At least to me, sitting courtside, it looked like you guys move quicker if he gets the ball.
Yeah.
Is that something we can
that's what he
expect?
does bring to the table. And you got to remember, that's his first night, as far as this team and this, running the show. And so there's a balance too, because he's a great scorer, and that's his mentality. And so he's got to become a point guard and a scorer, and there's a fine line there. And I thought he did a good job on a lot of things we can build on, but I see great things ahead for him at the point.
Can you ask about the Mountain West news this morning?
What was it?
Gloria Navarez, the new commissioner.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Oh, I know Gloria and I go way back.
I guess the league just announced that she's going to take over for Craig. What are your thoughts on that?
That's great. I have a history with her as far as she was in the WCC when I was there, and so she knows basketball. I know that. That's great. I think that's a terrific hire. I'm excited to get to work with her, and it is nice when you have a history with someone and you know their work, and she knows. I was probably a pain in the butt at Gonzaga because we were always complaining about something, me and Billy Greer.
So now your hope for the double buys for the conference tournament, maybe you can get that back in.
Well, she understands it. She understands the importance of that, and she understands why we did it. And there wasn't. It's not just, hey, let's give Boise. That's not why I'm saying it. I'm doing it for the good of the league and the good of the basketball league, and it makes sense. You want to protect your best teams to get at-large berths. That's the goal. That's the most important thing, because you look at what it can do for your league as far as revenue and getting more teams in the tournament. That's the most important thing. That's what our league needs to be working on.